Well, in my office, of course, we're trying to deal with the problem in Louisiana in particular, but with the problem of generational welfare, where that's becoming a big problem. And you saw that in the evacuations of the storms, where these people were totally reliant on the government to handle their issues of evacuating from an imminent storm. And that's just a snapshot of what the problem is with these people being totally reliant on government to handle every issue. And with the $700 billion bailout, I think the taxpayers of America are kind of getting fed up and say, look, you know, we need people to go to work and help pull the wagon instead of generation after generation jumping into the wagon.
Well, John, instead of paying women $1,000 to tie their tubes, I mean, why not put the money or the efforts into education, into creating jobs, into maybe even if you want to go the pregnancy way, birth control and education with regard to that?
Every one of the ideas you brought up were talked about in the brainstorming session. Obviously, the media thought this was the one that they can get some ratings off of, and only talked about this idea. We talked about getting involved in the community. How do we reach out? How do we give avenues to where these people can see other examples of you know, how to get out of poverty, how to get out of welfare? We talked about a lot of those issues. This was one that was brought up that the media grabbed hold of because it gets ratings.
You look at numbers according to the U.S. Census Bureau, and this is for 2006 to 2007. The poverty rate for families with kids was 17%, okay? However, the poverty rate for adults with no kids was even higher, 23%. So doesn't that blow your theory?
Well, I can only speak to Louisiana, and I'm a representative of Louisiana.
That is Louisiana. That is the state of Louisiana.
In Louisiana, the problem of generational welfare is a big problem, and we need to deal with it. And that's what we were brainstorming about. I don't think this would have ever made it to drafting in legislation. But of course, you know, the media wants to have ratings, and this is what they want to talk about. I mean, instead of talking about the issue, which is how do we get fewer people. But we are talking about the issue. We're talking about poverty. Into paying taxes and being productive members of society, and it's better for them, it's better for everybody involved. So that's the point.
But isn't that education, isn't that creating jobs, isn't that really getting into your community and trying to help the people versus saying, tie your tubes, we'll pay you $1,000. Well, why not take these people and say, hey, we got jobs here, we got better education here, let's put money in. Hey, I lived in New Orleans and worked in New Orleans, and it is a shame the condition that so many of these schools are in, and how much money is divided in this city. I mean, you have the power to really make change there. Instead of paying people to tie their tubes, you could put that money into incredible educational opportunities.
All those things are on the table, and we're talking about all these opportunities. And once again, in Louisiana, we had a tremendous influx of illegal aliens, so that's you know, bringing down the economy even more. That's another issue that some of my opponents on the other side of the aisle don't want to bring up, and they don't want to talk about. Well, so it's a big problem, and it needs to be addressed. And if all else, we at least brought up the issue of generational welfare is a problem, and I hope we can address it and come to some solution that works. Obviously, this one's probably not it, but let's talk about it.